Okay, so question number 2. I have completed CEH, which is Certified Ethical Hacker, and learning Python for hackers. I am looking for, so what? I have completed CEH and learning Python for hackers. I am looking for a pen testing guide. How can I learn more about pen testing to get a job? So no question mark, no nothing, no punctuation, but we'll try to understand what they want to say. You want to take it, Alexis?
Yeah, so first of all, for some weird reason, people actually think CH is like a pen testing certification. Let me just clarify that it really isn't, and it's primarily just a certification that focuses on educating students in the essentials of security. So it's sort of an introductory certificate, similar to what you would get with CompTIA Security Plus, right? So it has nothing to do with actively engaging targets, although it might cover that, but it really doesn't focus in a practical way. I do know that they have introduced CH Practical, which sort of has live labs where you can practice these techniques. But typically speaking, CH is not a pen testing certificate. So I think the answer to the question is if you want to get a job, you need to get fairly good at pen testing, and one of the ways of doing this is by, of course, getting your hands dirty with pen testing. So there's many ways of doing this. You can start off with various courses or books, and you can then start putting into action what you're learning, similar to what Chris said previously in the previous question. So you can start testing it out with vulnerable boxes from VulnUp or Hack the Box, just to get an idea of the various tools you'll be using in pen testing, understanding how it works, actively exploiting a target, stuff like that. So start working on getting your hands dirty, and then you will very quickly identify areas where you're lacking in terms of skill or knowledge. So your next step should be to remedy these gaps, or to try and fix or to try and improve where you're actually lacking. So there are many ways you can do this. You can take a look at various books. One of the books I recommend is the Hacker's Playbook. It's a great introductory book that really covers the essentials. So I think there are about 3 books in the collection now. So you can start off with those ones.
Yeah.
And then I think once you've nailed down where you're making mistakes or where you're going wrong and you've remedied them, you can then start working on your own pen testing methodology. So again, just understanding how you yourself will go through certain pen tests, depending on whether it may be a black box test or a white box test or even a gray box test. So building your own methodology, I feel, is extremely important. And then finally, of course, is to get your entry-level pen testing certificate. And of course, that's going to be OSCP. That's pretty much the standard now. I know there are plenty of other certificates like from Learn Security, but one of the most recognized options is going to be OSCP. And that, to some extent, will guarantee that you'll get a job if you're well prepared for it. So that's personally what I think.
Fellas, check out my Python Basics course to learn the fundamentals of Python you need in cybersecurity. There's a discount link in the description. Solid answer. So they actually, their main point is, how can I learn more about pen testing to get a job? And what I want to highlight here, aside of what you were saying, which I think is complementary to what you're saying, is that in my view, what's more important is what you know when it comes to getting a job than what kind of certification you have. I cannot evaluate how good CEH is, but in my understanding, it's probably good. I mean, if you're just starting out in the field, it actually gets you acquainted or familiarized with a lot of the methodology or the technicalities that are in cybersecurity, and that's a good thing. It may become, I kind of know that it wasn't too practical. It was more like theoretical so far, but as you've said, since they've added the practice labs, it might be more technical. Do they still have like, is the exam like still multiple choice, or is it like practical?
I think for the standard CH certification, it's still multiple choice. I'm not sure about the practical certification. They probably have some level of attacking actual labs. So I'm not really sure there.
Okay, so yeah, that probably doesn't matter. It's my point was that it's what you know, that what more important than what type of certification you have. Because if you're going to a job interview, of course certifications are good and they can actually open a lot of doors. But if you don't know this, if you don't know what you should do in a job, I mean, a certification wouldn't help you. You would be able to get a job. It's more likely that you would be able to get a job without a certification if you're really good at what you're doing than with a certification that has been obtained, like, not necessarily, maybe a one that has been obtained fraudulously, or a certification that doesn't teach you like uh, a lot of the stuff that's actually in a pen testing job. Because I would say that certifications might not 100% reflect what you would have to do in a job. They might show you scenarios, potential scenarios, but in real life, you often realize that it's much more different than what you've learned like passively. So anyway, my point was to um, my emphasis was on, it's more important what you know compared to a certification. And in terms of, you've mentioned they should start doing their own penetration testing methodology. If they don't know, if they do not know how to develop that, there's the standard penetration testing methodology, which comprises of at least 5 stages from what I know. They
Yeah.
could go through that penetration. They could take that as a start point, the penetration testing methodology, and actually develop their own unique perspective on that.